If we have no expectations and feel like we don't deserve anything, how can we live a happy and healthy life? If we live in fear that our house could burn down, and we wake up every morning grateful that it hasn't, or if we cross the road in fear that we could be run over, and we are grateful that we survive, wouldn't that restrict our development and creativity? So that question actually comes out of a satsang that we had last week or 2 weeks ago, in which I was speaking about gratitude. And I was saying how sometimes looking for something to be grateful for is difficult. There are times in our life when we feel so depressed, so down, that it's difficult to find anything to be grateful for. And I was suggesting that even the stuff we take for granted, that we wake up in the morning, that our heart is still beating, that our eyes can still see, that our house is still standing. These are things to be grateful for, because there could have been an earthquake in the night or a fire and our house could have collapsed. You cross the road grateful that you've made it to the other side. But that doesn't mean there's a big difference between living in fear of something and living with an awareness that it's possible. Living in fear is what restricts us. If we're afraid that my house is going to burn down every night, if we're afraid that there's going to be an earthquake every night, well, absolutely, we can't fall asleep. The gratitude in the morning when you wake up that my house hasn't burned down is contingent upon the fact that I was able to fall asleep in the night. If I was afraid that my house was going to burn down in the night, such that I couldn't even fall asleep, although I haven't even been able to arrive at the beautiful morning. So fear is actually what constricts us. And having gratitude for an act of grace does not mean that we live in fear of the absence of that grace. So gratitude that nobody hit me while I was crossing the road, gratitude for my health, gratitude that my loved ones are healthy, gratitude that my house is standing. These are wonderful, positive things that we can all find in our life. You don't have to dig very deep to find something to be grateful for. But that doesn't mean that we should live in fear that it will happen, or that the fear is somehow an inherent part of the gratitude, that I have to first worry about something and then be grateful that it didn't happen. No. We simply live in awareness. Yeah, my house could burn down. Yeah, there could be an earthquake. Yes, I could be walking down the street in the crosswalk with the green light, and some crazy drunk person could come out of nowhere and mow me down. The road could open up. There could be a sinkhole right under the road and it could literally open up and swallow me in. It's all possible. Or I could make it safely across the road and open the door to my house to find that my loved ones have passed away while I was out. It's all possible. But that awareness of possibility should lead to two things. An awareness of our lack of control and gratitude for grace. It should not lead to fear. Fear does not give us any more control. The illusion, the myth, the game that fear plays is somehow if I can get scared enough, if I can get stressed enough, I'm going to somehow be able to impact the outcome. Oh my God, I'm so stressed about this exam I have tomorrow. I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed, I'm so stressed. Well, there's an underlying unconscious aspect that somehow if I can generate enough stress, maybe God will, take mercy on me and give me an A even though I didn't study. If I'm really, really worried about something, maybe that worry can somehow keep it at bay. But that's not how the universe works. All the fear does is ruin what I have in that moment. Ruin the peace of that moment, ruin the joy of that moment, ruin the health of that moment. Because the fear, of course, is making my pulse rate rise, my blood pressure rise. It's ruining my health. And it has no impact on the outcome. So that awareness of these things leads to number one, the knowledge that I have no control. And this is a really important and powerful piece of knowledge that seems really obvious, but none of us lives according to it. We think that we can control the world. We think that we can control people around us. If I just look at them in this way, if I get angry at that, if I reward them like this or punish them like that, if I sulk, if I mope, if I slam the door to my room, if I go to bed without eating dinner, well then he'll be nicer to me. Then she'll be nicer to me. Then he'll do what I want. She'll do what I want. We think that we can control people. That we can control the universe. But we can't. So an awareness that my house could burn down, an awareness that I could get hit by a car, that awareness is not meant to lead to fear. It's meant to remind me over and over again, really, there but by the grace of God go I. Pujya Swamiji always says, one of the trillions of cells in the brain, one of them, could stop firing or fire incorrectly. And it's over. And there's nothing you can do to prevent that in terms of control. We couldn't even properly digest our food. I mean, if you swallowed your meal and an hour later you discovered it hadn't digested, there's no circuitry in our conscious mind that we could activate to convince that stomach to digest our meal if it hadn't. It's just grace of the being, grace of this creation, that our food digests, that our blood circulates, that we inhale and exhale. Sit down for meditation and be aware of the breath. And what you'll find is, within a few minutes, your awareness has drifted. And then you bring it back. And a few minutes later, it's drifted again, and you bring it back. And as far as meditation goes, that's fine. But thank God that we do not have to consciously breathe. Because if every 3 minutes, when our awareness left, our breath stopped, none of us would be sitting here. So it's an awareness really that just there, by thy grace, go I. There by thy grace my food is digested. By thy grace I wake up in the morning. By thy grace I'm breathing. By thy grace my house is still standing. I didn't get hit this time when I crossed the road. But it's not meant to lead to fear. It's meant to just give us that awareness. And the reason that that awareness is so important is, number one, of course, because it's the truth. And the truth in and of itself is powerful. But also because it keeps us out of the little stupid things in life. If I am living in this illusion that everything's in my control, yeah, my house will keep standing. Yeah, everything's going to be fine with my loved ones. Yeah, everything's fine with my health. No, I'm not going to get run over by a car. We lose sight of the fragility of life. We lose sight of the fragility of those around us. We take it all for granted. And then what we find is that our minds end up getting stuck in stupid little things that take all of our time and attention away from gratitude to the divine, away from connection. So living with that awareness keeps us also grounded in what's important. If I take you for granted and forget that I could lose you at any moment, I might yell at you because dinner didn't have enough salt in it, or I might, yell at you about this or be angry at you about that. Or try to convince you to do this, but little. But if I'm constantly aware of the fragility, whether it's a cell in your brain, whether it's a cell in my brain, whether it's the fault line between the plates of the earth that runs right beneath us, that at any moment could give way, whether it's the volcano on the mountain above our heads that at any moment, whatever it may be, it brings a freshness, a truth to life. This is why so many people who have gone through either horrible accidents or near-death experiences and terminal illnesses are deeply grateful for them. What all of them say is not, oh my God, I wish I had never had to deal with cancer. I wish I had never had that accident. But what you hear is, I'm so grateful that it happened because, yeah, it was hell. But it was a hell that has given me a filter forever of actually what's important and actually what to focus on in my life internally. Yeah, I still go about doing my work, but my mind is so different. My mind is no longer wrapped up and bothered by these little things because I've been this close to death. And when you're this close to death, none of the little things matter. The other aspect, of course, that it's meant to bring in is just gratitude. But it's not meant to bring fear. And that's really important to the person who asked this question. That awareness is not to generate fear. It's to generate gratitude and to generate an awareness of the truth of the fragility of our life.